Welcome to Glow Getter Guru. Let's go on this journey together to ignite our inner spark and illuminate the path to success and happiness. On this show, we're diving deep into the world of empowerment, motivation, and personal growth. Whether you're chasing your dreams, building your empire, or just need that little extra shine in your life, I got you, girl. Each episode, I'll be bringing inspiring stories, thought-provoking insights, and advice to help us unleash our full potential. So let's be the luminaries we were born to be, and let's light up the world together.
Welcome to Glow Getter Guru.
Hello, welcome back. Oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. I'm your host, Zella. If it's your first time here, it's nice to meet you. And if you're coming back, as usual, thank you so much for coming back. I have finally, I cannot speak because I've had several glasses of wine. I have finally done 10 episodes. This is episode 11. Who's consistent? You're consistent. I'm consistent. We're consistent. Yeah. So I don't have any like celebration for 10 episodes. I'm just proud of myself because I've been consistent. So anyway, I'm happy to have you here today. I would like today for us to talk about, I would want to share with you the things that I'm learning currently right now. I am in a season of transition, and I knew transition was uncomfortable, but apparently I forgot just how uncomfortable it is. So I want to talk about the things that I'm learning in this period. In case you're going through a transition as well, and you're in the thick of it, and you haven't taken a second to reflect on, what is happening right now. Because like I said, I know how uncomfortable it feels, and it's so crazy and unpredictable and an emotional roller coaster and also exciting at the same time. So I put my phone on silent, but it just dinged. Ugh, I am getting up there away from technology. That's what I'm gonna say because I'm still young and beautiful. So I don't know how this technology is getting away from me. I thought it was on silent, but anyway, back to this transition period. So I'll tell you a little bit about like what I'm going through right now. If you have listened to like my previous episodes, you knew that I have been going through this weird thing with my job that I have not fully shared, but I don't know. I'm like an open book. Some of the things, they're just like subtle. So you might have been able to put a couple of things together, but I haven't fully shared it because I'm currently still working there, but I'm getting really close to the fuck it type of feeling about it. So I'm transitioning right now. So basically, the story is I had been working on growing in my career. I applied to several positions in my company. I didn't get them, although allegedly I got very close a couple times. But anyway, I was okay with that because I'm like, okay, there's still some things I need to develop and things like that. So I spent 2 years working on growing in my career. So I was basically trying to skip a level because I'm like a mid-level. Well, technically I'm a senior analyst if we're talking about like out there in the market, but there's 3 tiers of analyst in my company and I'm on the second tier. And so I tried to basically skip the third tier and I applied to some management positions, which I was qualified for them. So I don't feel bad about like skipping, no one says I have to do this and then become that. It's just that's most likely how it happens. You become a level 3 and then you become a manager. So anyways, I didn't do those. I didn't get those management positions that I applied for, and I had gotten some feedback. And I had always been a high performer. I don't really get bad feedback. To be honest with you, I haven't gotten any bad feedback. Weirdly, strangely, for the last 3 years, I've been at my job for 6 years. I have in the past gotten constructive criticism and areas of growth and things like that. But for the last 3 years, I haven't. It was just like, you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job. You know, even all of last year, I heard it like once a month from like my management team, like of how good I'm doing and how engaged I've been, and you know how my work is like my hard work is showing in the work that I do. Right. Basically, I was being gassed up all year, but I had even applied to a leadership program that's offered from a program that I went through when I started my career. And I got into the leadership program. So I put myself through a separate leadership development program with the Corn Ferry, Leadership U for Humanity program. So I did 6 months of leadership training. And I put all this stuff on my resume. My manager had changed a lot in the last 3 years, but I was working on a plan, like a spreadsheet that basically says the differences between where I'm at and where I am trying to go. And so I had completed that entire spreadsheet in addition to going above and beyond on just like my regular duties. And so on paper, everything looked like I should have gotten a promotion because the spreadsheet alone illustrates that I was doing the job already for a year. So I did not get that. I didn't get the promotion, and I made a little stink of it, and I asked for a raise. And so my job, they did not give me the promotion. They did not give me the raise. They gave me up. They told me that the spreadsheet I was working on was more of a guide, not a plan. So I asked for a real plan, and they gave me a plan, but I don't know. I'm just kind of like at the point right now where I'm just like, I really worked my ass off and it was validated without me asking you to validate it for an entire year. And now when it's kind of time to back up the shit that you say and show me the value, it's like fucking it's crickets. Okay, I will say they did give me a we get rated in most companies we get rated as like a solid performer, high performer, top performer. I even got rated as a top performer, which is apparently extremely rare to get. So I didn't understand why on paper it was saying promotion, but I wasn't actually being promoted. And to be honest, I still don't understand because no one has given me a straight answer. Because apparently, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I honestly don't know. But anyway, I love working for the company that I work for right now. I will say that. That's why I'm still here after they played in my face. But I will say they gave me this plan, and I meet monthly with my manager, and we talk about what I'm working on, and we pull up the plan and everything. But I've got to tell you, after working so hard for 2 years and doing everything that they wanted me to do plus more, like above and beyond, just because I loved working there, I just lost all motivation to do those things. Like, I'm just like, I don't trust you anymore. I don't want to work on this plan, really. So I kind of was like, okay, they didn't promote me, but that's life when you are working for somebody else. They have the power to say, yes, you can move on, or no, you have to stay where you are. So you either stay there or you leave to another company, or, you have lots of options. So my option that I took is that I want to focus on building other streams of income. And so I'm trying to figure out, honestly, I'm a little bit confused on how much I still give to this plan they put together for me because my manager that I have now, one of them has been here the whole 6 years. It's a weird structure in our company. I pretty much have two managers, but one official manager. And so my official manager is new, and so this is his first time interacting with me and, putting the plan together or whatever. But I just don't really trust them. So I decided that I wanted to focus more on my side ventures. And it really sucks because I do love working for my company and I don't really want to leave them. But I also, if I'm not going to be paid my value, I just want to be paid, based on what they're paying me. I want to perform based on what they're paying me right now. So I don't know. I'm navigating through that still. I don't know where that's going to end up. I don't know if I'm going to end up leaving or quitting or getting promoted or finding my motivation again to try to work hard on their plan. I don't know. I don't know because I know you're not supposed to take these things personally, but I have taken it very personally for good reason because like I said, the paper does like on paper it doesn't make sense. But anyway, so with that being said, there's my backstory. Finally, the short version. Maybe one day I'll go more into detail if I don't work for them anymore. Okay, I got all worked up. I need to take a second to breathe. Okay, so my transition period, I decided to try to take a step back, do what I'm paid to do there. I'm not going to be a bad employee at all because, like I said, I like working there and I actually like the work I do. So I'm not one of those people that wakes up and say, I hate going to work. I don't want to do this. I actually like the work I do, but I'm not going to go above and beyond if I'm not going to be paid to, perform that way. Like I'm not doing that anymore for free. Like, sorry. But otherwise, I have tried to think of other ways that I can become more self sufficient financially. And so it has been a very uncomfortable journey for me. So I had written an ebook. I haven't really promoted it heavily lately. It's a book about goal setting. So like every year I do annual goals and I work toward those goals. And every year I accomplish most of my goals. Well, actually every goal except one every year. But anyway, so I finished up that book. I published it. I probably need to learn more about marketing and sales and stuff like that. But that was fine. And then I decided that I want to start this podcast and, grow a community and connect with other people that might be feeling the same way as me and to have something that's my own. So I started that, which has been uncomfortable. Even 11 episodes in, I'm just like, you know what's so funny? I thought, like, oh, I love to talk all the time. So, like, a podcast is a no brainer because I can talk my fucking ass off. But actually, finding it a little difficult to talk a lot on these podcast episodes. I wrote a whole list of like a whole year's worth of things that I want to talk about. But then every week I look at the list and I don't want to talk about those things. And then I find something else to talk about, like with what I'm currently going through. And some of those things I am currently going through, but I don't know, I wasn't in the mood to talk about them. But I had been sick. No, I saw something on a movie. I think it was a movie yesterday. Yeah, or maybe it was a meme or a reel or something. I think you can tell by now if you've been listening that I have like a shit memory of things sometimes. But anyway, I saw something and they were like, "Well, how do you know you're growing or that you're, changing or you're something?" And the lady was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm going to throw up." And I was like, "Yes." Because I feel like I'm going to throw up all the time with the things I think about that are different and uncomfortable for me. Like one of the things besides the podcast is that I am working with my sexy Latino lover and we are doing our first flip. So one, I didn't even know, like I own a house already that I live in and I don't know anything about investing in real estate. So this is like my first toe dip into the water. I didn't even think I could qualify to get money to buy an investment property. But apparently it was super easy and I had all the right things already in place. And so when I applied, it was just easy. I was able to get funding for the project. And so I'm going through that process, but it's still scary because I don't know how it's going to turn out and I have no experience. So I'm just kind of navigating it. And I officially, my sexy Latino lover and I officially found a property and we put an offer and it got accepted. And we're officially under contract with our first property that we're going to flip. And it's literally, I've been wanting to throw up because I'm like, the doubts are coming in. They're like, oh, what if this goes bad? What if you end up having to pay two mortgages and with this uncertainty at your job at this time as well? And it's just like, it's a lot, So but on the flip side, I on the flip side, just what I did there because I'm doing a flip. Anyway, um, on the other side of that anxiety and that doubt or whatever, I am super excited. I'm so proud of myself for going forward through with something that is very scary. And so, what I wanted to share today about this transition season, when I heard that about the girl saying, "Oh, like, how do you know you're doing it right?" Because I feel like I want to throw up. It resonated with me so much that I took the time to reflect on what am I learning in this season of life. This season being my transition season, and especially where I feel like some goals that I had for the year, I am absolutely fucking crushing them. Like, for example, just this, doing this, like having a side income is one of my goals, and having being consistent is one of my goals. And 11 episodes in, I'm being consistent. And then there's another, on the health side where I have just been failing. And I'm not going to make any excuses. Just when I get stressed, I start falling off of like prioritizing myself. So I need to get back on top of that. So I'm failing there, but it's just, you know, I was reflecting on what I learned and all the chaos that's going on in my mind that might not actually be as chaotic outside of here in my head. It might be more calm than I feel it to be. So I took a second to reflect. Before I was going to record this episode about something else, but I was reflecting at my makeup vanity, and I was just thinking, like, what have I been learning right now about myself in this season? And so these are the things, and I wrote them down per usual. I'm not really good with on the fly talking yet. I need to make some notes. So, one of the first things I wrote down is that I'm learning to trust that I'm capable of making things happen and making things work. Because one thing I do know for sure is that I have a track record personally with myself of when getting into things that I have no idea what to do and then figuring it out and ending up being really good at them. So I'm telling myself that I'm going to figure it out. I trust myself to do that. Even if it goes bad, I trust myself to be able to turn things around. The other thing is that it's anxiety around this flip. So I wrote down that a bad deal or a bad decision, it might make things hard for a little while, but it will not be the end of me. It won't be the end of me. So, my mind, of course, it went to the best case scenario, but it also went to the worst case scenario. What if I get this house and then we go in to renovate and there are major things that we did not see in there or that was not caught on the inspection and it costs X amount of dollars? And what if that doesn't get approved and I can't fund that and then I have to come out of pocket for that and then the renovation takes longer and then I got to pay two mortgages? You see, I'm spiraling, but I have come to terms with even if it goes bad and if it's a bad deal, I will survive. I will survive. Yes, I will survive. I am a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop what? I'm gonna work harder. Anyway, yes, I will survive. Even if I have to do what I gotta do to get things back on track, I will survive. When I had graduated from high school at age 18, I had filed my taxes for the first time in my life, and I found out that my identity had been stolen like every year that I was in high school. And so I had a shit credit score, like coming right out of high school. It was like, I don't know, like 500 or something. And I had to spend years building it up and disputing things and things like that. It took like years to get it to a good point. And I'm glad I dedicated that time. But it was hard, especially when I was trying to like rent. When we were ready to move out of where we were living and I started applying to other houses to rent, I almost lost a house because of the identity theft. There was a lien put on my, I don't know, whatever. And so I had contacted the Department of Revenue. It was for the state. It wasn't the IRS. And luckily, I had been working on my credit because even though the lien was still on my credit, and I was talking to the agent, like, yeah, everything looked okay until we saw that there's a lien on your credit and something, something. And I was like, that is identity theft. And I'm just so happy that I was proactive because I had a letter from the state saying that the lien was going to be removed and that it was validated that it was identity theft. So I was able to send that to them and I was able to get the house because I was freaking out because I was like, I have a 100% on time payment history and I've been spending years trying to repair this. And here's the proof. And I just like hope they believe me. So things, it was like, it was difficult to like get through some things. And so I decided that no matter what happens, I have probably been through worse. So I'll get through it, whatever the outcome, even if it's a bad outcome. Because you can't get the reward without the risk. So you got to be prepared for the risk as well, as much as you can be. So, the next lesson that I learned was that when I start to feel like I am not smart enough or that I don't belong or like I'm not a real estate investor, I have started adding the word yet because, of course, I'm not those things. I've never done them before. But I have started, so I'm on my way. So when I'm just like, I'm not a real estate investor yet, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's getting there. So that's what I tell myself, and I just keep going because I am an expert in certain areas, like in my career, and I wasn't always an expert. I was a beginner, and I wasn't an expert yet. And then I kept doing it, and I had some failures and things like that, and now here I am. I'm an expert. So here we go. The last thing, I think this is the last thing I wrote down. Ooh, no, it's not. I got two more after this. This one is the hardest one for me to come to terms with, but I have come to terms with it. And that is bracing myself for the hustle if it goes bad. Even if it doesn't go bad, but it becomes uncomfortable and a little bit more unmanageable, bleh. If it becomes a little more unmanageable than I'm expecting, then I'm embracing myself to have to hustle, whether that's get a second job or whatever the hell it is I gotta do to get the shit that I need to get done. And I don't want to do that. I cannot even tell you like how much I am so not for the hustle culture because when I did that and I've been there, I just hated it. I hated the way I felt. I hated it so much. It just takes me back to before I started my career. And I had learned about that program. It was a technical program that I went through to start my career. I had actually dropped out of college because of all the loans. I don't have anyone in my family that was college educated to educate me about, borrowing money and things like that. So I dropped out of college because I didn't want to borrow a bunch of money. Like I didn't want to start my life in debt. I already had bad credit from tax theft. So I had went through this program and it was full time like a job. And so I also still had to pay my bills. So I worked at Longhorn Steakhouse. And I remember I was a hostess. And then when I went to the school, I knew I had to cut my hours. So then I needed to ask to do more money. So they're like, oh, the manager, I guess he didn't think I would do it. He said, and I asked him if I could work in the kitchen. And he said, well, let's start with you coming in the mornings and cleaning the bathrooms. And I'll pay you $10 an hour. And so I did do that. And I proved to myself, and then he put me in the kitchen and then they gave me a little bit more money. Not a lot. I think I don't even want to laugh. It's not even funny because lots of people still live like this. I think I made like maybe no more than $15,000 a year when I worked as a line cook at Longhorn. Like I made $12 an hour. It was not like full time with benefits or anything like that, you know, but because I was also in school, I could only work on the weekends. So I had worked like, I don't know, like crazy, ridiculous hours. Crazy, crazy, ridiculous hours. Some, I don't even know. It was definitely more than 12-hour days. I would come in early in the morning and clean the bathrooms. And then sometimes I would help unload the truck. And then we would stay really late and clean like past midnight. And after a while, I asked my manager, like, can I please not close anymore, like on Sundays, because I need to go to school on Monday. And luckily, there was a manager there that was supportive because, a lot of the times the management in like restaurants and things like that, they have no cares about what you got going on or for you having a life. They just need people on their schedule. So, anyway, I am bracing myself to potentially have to hustle again or get a second job or whatever, drive Uber. I don't know. But yeah, that's something I'm learning that I need to be prepared for the undesirable. And I guess that also falls in line with coming to terms with potential sacrifices that'll need to be made. So we're halfway through with the year. I know there are certain areas that I want to grow in, which is like focusing on this flip, focusing on my podcast, what other things I want to work on. Like I had been for like a few years ago, I had designed like a planner. Like I sketched it, but I never like built it or did anything like that. So I might want to dig into that, or I might want to learn like dig deeper into video production and things like that. Anyways, I'm figuring out what I want to do to elevate in my life. So that's all part of this transition. And I'm just coming to terms with the sacrifices I'm going to have to make, which is spending less time with the people I care about and focusing more on me at this time and my growth. And then the last thing that I wrote down is that, as you could see, I'm like, oh, I could do this or I could do that. The last thing is that I need to become really decisive about what are the important things that I need to keep and what are the important things that I need to drop. So those are the things that I've been learning in this season. And so I think the main thing is these things that I've learned, and then also recognizing that I have been not taking care of myself recently. Like I started to, and then I stopped. So I need to put myself first. So with that being said, I would encourage you to think about, what are you learning in this season of life right now? What are the takeaways? What do you need to reflect on? And then I want to leave you with these affirmations. I read some the other day, but I'm going to read some. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to read 3 affirmations. 2 are basic, and the other one is really for myself, but it's also for you. So the first one is, I love me. Tell yourself that you love yourself. I love me. The second one is, I am my first priority, because if you don't prioritize yourself, nothing else is going to fall into place without causing you stress. So I am my first priority. And the last one, the magic you're looking for is in the work you need to do. The magic you're looking for is in the work that you need to do. Enjoy the journey. Take your lessons. Try to put a smile on, even on the stressful days. And I'll talk to you next week. It was nice chatting with you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Glow Getter Guru today and for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Do me a favor. If there was something that you loved about this episode or that you connected with, please let me know. Connect with me on Instagram. I can't wait to hear from you. Talk to you soon. Bye.